Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am Tamara Shealey. You know who I am, and you know what time it is. It is time to get down to the business, y'all. Tamara for Georgia broadcast every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Twitter, right here on Facebook, YouTube. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This morning, we're going to talk about Black-owned businesses. Let me put this banner up, y'all. My computer is not my friend today, but I do have a friend here. Good morning, Mr. Eddie.
Good morning, Tamara. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? Did you hear some dragging with the sound, or is it just me?
It all sounded perfectly fine to me.
Oh, good, good, good. Well, it's just me on this end. That's a good thing. Well, good morning. Thank you for
Good
joining
morning.
me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So everybody knows that we give voice to issues, activists, activism. We're always trying to do good. Good morning, Miss Cazetta. Good morning. Make sure you hit the share button, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the notifications wherever you're watching me. Make sure you bring some folks into the broadcast this morning. But Mr. Goodman, you are all the way on the West Coast.
Yes.
Mr. Earn Our Trust, y'all. Earn Our Trust.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Eddie Goodman is the founder, CEO of Earn Our Trust. And we're going to talk about Black-owned businesses this morning. Let me tell you, I come to this broadcast and I tell you, I owned a business, and I actually own several small businesses still, but I had a nail salon, did services for 18 years. And I can tell you that there's nothing like entrepreneurship.
Right.
Nothing. It's the most rewarding. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hitting that share button, hit the like, hit the subscribe, the notification, all that good stuff. Share. I'm still locked out of Facebook. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Freeman in the house. Good morning. And owning my salon, I can tell you, I totally, being an entrepreneur, I had, a few employees. It was a wonderful experience. I think it's the driving force, honestly, behind us as a people.
Right.
I've had jobs many, many years ago when I first moved to Atlanta. I had a few jobs, but nothing like being an entrepreneur. So
I
thank you,
agree.
Mr. Good, for all you do. Why don't you speak
Thank
to
you.
that, the entrepreneurship? You're an entrepreneur yourself.
Yeah. It's just what people understand is that when you have your own business, yes, you're your own boss, but whoever your consumers are or whatever client that you have, you still have to please them. But it is a good feeling to be able to create your own opportunity, and if you're successful, you can go ahead and help others and bless other people as well. So it's just a good feeling, and then you can see starting from the beginning stages, and then it's growing and scaling. It's just a wonderful thing. I grew a security business here in Los Angeles, um, up to having like 51 employees and grossing $1 million a year. So I know how it feels to really put the hard work and sweat equity. And I grew it. I put it on autopilot, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't grow that big. God called me into this political realm that I'm in, so I didn't get a chance to continue to nurture that part of my life.
Right.
But I know it's the most rewarding when I think about, how we were when we were in slavery, right? And we
Right.
came out of slavery, that period of Reconstruction where we built Black Wall Street and we
Right.
built strong communities with our grocery stores and our
Hmm.
banks and
Hmm.
our schools. And, we built community.
Right.
And, it is, Black businesses were the cornerstone.
Right.
We took that dollar, and we spent it with the butcher, who spent it with the baker, who spent it
Hmm.
with, and that dollar just kept circulating inside
Right.
of our community. And
Right.
that was our wealth. That
Right.
was the wealth that we were building.
Right. Today we don't
And
have
now
that.
hmm?
We don't really have that in certain communities. We don't have the unity of having, like you said, the bakery and the this and the that. Um, in certain places.
But I wish that, now let's fast forward into COVID and how we've lost what the data says about 40% of our businesses were lost in COVID.
Right.
But I see COVID as the great reset.
Right.
I see this as an opportunity now for us, those of you who were wanting to do something independently, wanting to have your own business. You all of us come to the table with some sort of skill. Somebody can sew, somebody can cook, somebody can bake. We all have. There's something we can do that we
Right.
can turn into a commodity, that we can turn into a business. So
Right.
this is to me, I see COVID as a reset and an opportunity for everybody to really figure out what is it that you can do so that we're not all trapped in these systems. Because I believe that this capital, and I believe in it, capitalism. I get it. I like it, honestly.
Yeah.
Make some money.
Capitalism is great. It's like what you do with it. I mean, just think about it. If we can produce more Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk within the Black community that was conscious and wanted to do the right thing, we probably could solve the problem. And that's the reason why I created Earn Our Trust. We can really solve the problems that we have in our community overnight.
Well, let's talk about Earn Our Trust. It is and I'll read what it says in the bio. It says, Earn Our Trust is building a community that will connect socially responsible consumers who believe in voting with their pocketbooks by patronizing socially responsible businesses that are tackling real life issues, from social justice to saving the environment.
Right. So, yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I wanted to create a platform to where people could go and support businesses that had a mission. Um, Here in Los Angeles, we have it's a company called Homeboys in Industry, and they take former gang members and they give them employment, and then they start creating like products like chips and salsa to go into the stores. And so the community got behind it and they started supporting. They was buying the chips, they was buying the salsa, because realistically, nonprofits are okay, but they're really not sustainable unless you're a big box nonprofit that just always gets the grants. So if we can find a way to have a business to have a product or a service, and that where we can, because I tell people this all the time, I'm not asking you to support a business or a product or a service if you don't like the product or the service. But if you like the product and the service, and the business owner is actually doing something social with the money he's making, that's a brand or a product that I can get behind. So after the horrific murder of George Floyd, you had a lot of people who wanted to help the African American community. So you see like Black Lives Matter got 100 million. We did a research. I hired a research team on Google. 400% on Black-owned business. The search engine shot up 400%. On Yelp, it shot up 7,000%. So people wanted to support the Black community because that's the only thing they know. Well, if I support a Black-owned business, hopefully that money would trickle down to start tackling some of these issues like Black-on-Black crime, police brutality. But just because you support, that's the reason why I created Earn Our Trust, is because just because you support a Black business owned by a Black person does not mean that Black business owner, he might just be a regular person that's, just want to make money. And that's fine. You can still support that business as well. But if you looking, and that's what we call a socially responsible consumer, if you make a conscious decision to say, well, no, I want to support a product or a service that's going to actually do something meaningful in the community, then those are the kind of people that we have on our platform. And I'll give you a breakdown. There's a pizza parlor named Down North Pizza that's on our platform. And only thing they do is hire people that's been incarcerated. So what does that do for the Black community? When a person comes out of jail, I missed the point. Not only do they give them a job, they provide them housing for 6 months so they can save their money. They teach them how to get their credit together and all that kind of stuff. And then they save enough money to get their own place to live. So not only do they give them a living wage paying job, but they give them a place to stay to help them get on their feet. So what this does for the Black community? If you think about it, if I'm a brother that just got out of jail and I can't get a job because I'm going around filling out applications and people don't want to hire me because I have a criminal record. When I start committing crimes in my community, in the Black community, who am I committing crimes against? Committing crimes against other Black people. Okay, so that's one thing, that if you have a job and you have a place to stay, you don't have to worry about them out there reoffending. So it's that revolving door where we talk about, that helps tackle that issue. Number two, it helps with police brutality. If I'm out there committing crimes, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get negative interaction with law enforcement because I'm out there committing crimes. So what happens when the police catch you out there doing something you had no business doing? That can really turn really ugly. You know what I'm saying? Because 9 times out of 10, the guy don't want to go back to jail. He's probably gonna be fighting with the cops, and that guy can either lose the guy, get shot by the cops. So now you tackling in police brutality. Another thing, a lot of times guys who get out of jail, when they can't find employment, they get depressed and they start taking drugs and they become homeless. So not only you helping people from getting depressed and having to refer to getting on drugs and being homeless, all of that just by giving a person a good paying job and giving them a place to stay. So those are the kind of businesses that we showcase on our platform, tackling real issues within the Black community.
So that is to combat recidivism. We want to make sure that these people don't go back.
Right.
Like, how do we, provide an opportunity for them to be able to survive coming out of being incarcerated and thrive? Like, give them a chance to make it in society so they don't go back to robbing and stealing and crime. I love it. I love it.
Right. So, if we just took that in for an example, and we all got behind that pizzeria and we all supported it, and say they were successful enough to scale like Domino's or Pizza Hut. So now we didn't create another $100 million company. That means they can be in more cities. They're in Philadelphia now, but then they can go to New York. They can go to New Jersey. They can come to LA. This is what I'm talking about, recycling the Black dollar and putting the money into businesses that have a business model that actually helps the community, not during Thanksgiving, giving away free turkeys or giving away backpacks and tennis shoes. That's all fine and dandy, but that's not sustainable. That's not nothing that's gonna, if you hire me and give me a living wage, I can buy my own turkey. I can buy my own kid's backpack. So we got to get out of the symbolism of just, oh yeah, we're doing a great thing. Giving back, we got to redefine giving back to the community, because giving back to the community is just, like I said, food drives and backpacks and all that kind of, that's not going to help me. If I'm out here struggling, that's not going to help me. So we have to invest. We have to patronize businesses that are creative and got a business model that address those kind of issues.
Mm-hmm. So basically, a larger footprint and making a bigger impact. That is what Earn Our Trust is all about. It's about businesses that are intentional with doing greater work, not just individualized or specific, but just for the greater good. Right.
And I give you an example, just like, we need to educate our own kids. We need to get our kids out of these failing schools. So, businesses, if we support these businesses, then these businesses can give back and help set up some endowments so we can have tuition-free schools so our kids can go to school and get a world-class education. But we have to know how to strategically mobilize our spending power. We don't do that. But if you have businesses that make a conscious decision to say, part of my business model is to tackle X, Y, and Z, Earn Our Trust is what that means. You have trust is earned, not given, and you can lose it at the blink of an eye. So we want business to say, well, if you want our dollars, you have to earn it. Let me know what you're doing for our community. What is your business model that's going to address homelessness or recidivism, people going to jail, or education? What piece of the puzzle, or fund a campaign like yours? You follow what I'm saying? Black media. What are you doing to stabilize our community? We just can't support a business just because it's owned by a Black person. They have to prove themselves if they want our money, because there's a collective people out there who believe in voting with their pocketbook. Earn Our Trust just created a platform. I didn't want to put it on Instagram or Facebook, because when they don't like what you're doing, they block you or put you on Twitter jail or Facebook jail, like what happened to you. This is an app. It's a startup. We're not perfect. We're not Facebook yet. We're not Instagram. I funded this out of my own pocket, but at least it's a start. And so like if you anybody out there that's listening to this broadcast, if you know businesses out there that's kind of doing exactly what I'm talking about, shoot me an email and let me know, and I'll put them on the website. I'll bring them on. I have a podcast too. I'll bring them on and interview them, and I'll put my own money up to market my site, because if I market my app and my website, that's marketing those businesses, and I don't charge them anything to be on the platform. Not to say I'm not going to make money in the future, but right now it's just about getting the information out there.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, I guess, let me put this comment on the screen. He says, I guess we could refer to those as woke Black businesses.
Yep. Because right now, Tamara, it's a shame that you got to go out and like struggling to get money. We should have an Elon Musk within our community that you can go to, and he can cut you a check for $100 million and just write it off. But we have to build those kind of communities and we have to build those kind of businesses by supporting them. But they have to have the right interest. So if we did get behind a business and blow them up, because we always do that, we support every other community but our own. And we can get into that later. But we always support others. We don't support ourselves. But then when we do support Black-owned businesses, they become just like the other people that's not Black. They come, they give away backpacks, they give away turkeys during Thanksgiving. They do a photo op, a dog and pony show. That's not going to help us. So what we have to do is we have to rethink what Black-owned businesses should look like if we're going to support them. So when we do support them and we do make them financially wealthy, people like yourself who is pushing an agenda that Black people are behind, they can cut you a check to help you push your campaign through. But the problem is we don't have an Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Zuckerberg within our community. We need to start producing those kind of people. They said we have a 1.2 trillion spending power, but we're making everybody else rich but ourselves. If we just harness some of that money and recycle some of that money with the socially responsible Black-owned businesses, then we can do more for our community. And I do believe the business, like what you just talked about, capitalism, I do believe, yes, that is the key to solving our problems within the Black community. But we empower other communities by spending money with other communities instead of spending money with ourselves. But when I say spend money with ourselves, we have to make a difference between someone who is just a regular a capitalist, a person that's just in it for business, and that's fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't support them either, but if we want to get out of the hole that we in as a community, we have to hold businesses responsible to giving back and really doing something sustainable to help us get out of the condition that we in as a people.
Yeah, well, I hear two things. I hear as you talk about this business model, because that's what Earn Our Trust is. It's a model for how to do business and be social justice at the same time. I think it's a great concept. But what I'm also hearing is that it's twofold. Like you are literally forcing businesses. If you really want these Black dollars and you really want the support, you're kind of pushing businesses to think more responsibly. And I like that part. Businesses sometimes they just think that it's all about, like you said on your website, it's all about the shareholders and lining their pockets and making them rich. But you're saying to these businesses, it's beyond that. It's about having a business model that give back in a bigger way. Like I said, with a larger footprint and a bigger impact.
Right.
So that's what I'm hearing.
That you're hearing this correctly, and it's at the end of the day, yes, we're at a point we're in the 911. We're on a deathbed, and unless we really come put a shocker and say, listen, first we have to unite under one roof as far as our spending power. So that's why I created Earn Our Trust, is that we can come there and the businesses are there, we vet them, and we're saying that these businesses have been vetted. And one thing about also my platform is that we also hold business accountable if they, say one thing and then doing another. I have a page on my app or on my website called The Wall of Shame. So if you get put on the wall of shame, we'll explain why you got put on the wall of shame. Is because You said you were socially responsible, but you're not. And so the ones that are on the wall of shame, we don't support you until you get your act together, and then we'll take you off the wall of shame. But there has to be some accountability with these businesses, or if we're going to enrich them and make them the next Jeff Bezos, because we have the power to do it. $1 trillion of spending power. Even if we get 10% of that, we can make some things happen. So we just got to hold them accountable if they want our money. Just like we tell voters, people that's running for office, hey, you want our vote? You say you're going to do what you're supposed to do, but if you don't, we'll hold you accountable. But I'm going to tell you something about voting with your pocketbook. Voting with your pocketbook is more effective than even regular voting. And I'm going to tell you why. Voting is important. Don't get me wrong. We should vote. But if someone comes to the Black community and tell us what we want to hear, we got to wait 2 to 4 years to get them out of office. Voting with your pocketbook, we can instantly, as a community, say we're no longer going to, say you sell soap. We're no longer going to buy soap from you as a community. What other black soap company out there that we can support that's going to actually stay true to the mission of helping the Black community? Someone get creative, start a soap company, boom, we start for supporting that soap company. So now we create competition, and we both, competition is good, especially in business. So that's the kind of platform that I'm creating here with Earn Our Trust.
And I think this is a preparation for these are for when we get reparations. It's kind of like we need to know how to spend these dollars and spend
Right.
these dollars and be very responsible with making sure that dollar is turning over in communities and also doing like the greater good, doing the bigger work. So I think this is preparation. I get excited when I hear about, how we're starting to think in this new season. Like it excites me because I really think that reparations is going to happen. And I know you speak to that, and I'll let you go there. But it's going to happen. This candidacy has centered reparations, put it on the forefront. And, we're that's what we're fighting for. So I believe it is going to happen on our watch, So I think this is preparation again. And I'll let you speak to reparations because that is something you do talk about.
Yes, I do. So not only did I create an app and a website, but I also published a book called Job Creators, which are your entrepreneurs, Innovation, which we need innovators within our community. We need, like I said, we need to create the next Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. So innovation is something in the Black community we need to start cultivating. And then accountability, which businesses need to be held accountable and consumers need to be held accountable. Everybody need to be held accountable. So the name of the book is Job Creators, Innovation, and Accountability is the blueprint to restoring the Black community. So before I go into reparations, in my book, I talk about universal basic income. And the reason why that's important that we discuss that is because if they're thinking about doing a universal basic income, it's the same reason why we should get reparations, because what's happening is that technology is doing so much work that it's replacing the work that humans usually do. At a point in time, they're going to have to invest in the Black community, because if you look at the condition we're in, we're like 90% of, failing schools, and we fill up the jails. So if you give us reparations, we can clean up 90% of the problem within our community. So if they're thinking about UBI, they need to take care of us first with reparations. And once they see how successful that is of cleaning up, because you have to think about it, if they help us, which they owe us, it's not they helping us, but if they go ahead and do the right thing and pay us our reparations, this will make this country even greater, because we as Black people, we're highly intelligent. We done created so many things. I mean, we're really the cornerstone of America. All the different inventions that we made and didn't even get credit for and stuff like that. And so if you get us away from committing crimes because you're not giving us an opportunity to make a living wage and stuff like that, if you just pay us our reparations, we can turn this thing around, and we'll just make the country even greater, because we are a great people. So if you're even thinking about doing UBI, which is just kind of similar to, you know, if you're giving money, it's still going to raise the debt ceiling and the whole 9 yards. So pay us first, and then once you see how successful giving us reparation, how this country would turn around and be blessed, then you can say you can justify and say, well, we're seeing how it worked really good to help the black community. Now let's go ahead and work on the universal basic income. And let me explain this. I believe in intellectual property. I think that we don't tap into the human brain to come up with different ideas of curing cancer and different stuff like that. It's like we're not tapping into intellectual property. Why? Because we're in the rat race. If you give us a basic way of just making a living and say, listen, let's everybody just collectively come together and start tapping into your IP, your intellectual property, we definitely would be number one and stay number one. Okay, so let me break down reparations. Like I said, like I had in my book. The number I came up with was 2.5 million, and I'll tell you why I came up with 2.5 million for for every Black American that is a descendant of slave. 2 million will go to being reinvested into the market and American companies, which I would believe will be good for the economy. It will stimulate the economy. 1 million will be paid residual income. So you'll get a monthly check from the 1 million investment into the market. One of the things, the problem that they say, the reason why they don't want to give us reparations, because they said it's who's going to pay for it, it's going to cost too much, and who's going to pay for it, how we're going to pay it back. Well, the other million, same thing, invest that into the market, take that dividend, that return on investment, and just pay the money back. Now, some people might say, well, it's a debt that's owed. Why we have to pay for it? You can sit there and complain, come up with these excuses. Like, we already know that they don't want to give it to us in the first place. But if we give them something that's feasible, they say, well, look, we'll take one of the millions and I think it's over 20 years at a 5% or 10% return that you invest in the market. Within 20 years, that'll be paid off. And then you can either take that money and keep it in the market and have 2 million coming in to pay you annually, or you can take the money and cash it out. Okay, I said 2.5. 400,000 would give you cash right now to do whatever you want to do. If you want to start a business, if you want to put your kids through college, 400,000 to do free for all. Do whatever you want to do. The reason why I said we needed an extra million to come every month and just lock that in where it can't be touched. A lot of rich people do that with their kids because they know their kids are screw ups, right? And the same thing with us. A lot of us, if you gave us 2.5 million, we probably take it, some of us, not all of us, and just blow through the money because we wouldn't know what to do with it. But at least the 400,000, you do what you want to do. If you're smart and invested, that'll be good. If you blow it, at least you'll have some money coming in, because we've been damaged over 400, 500 years of mental slavery and physical slavery. We really don't know what to do when it comes to finances. That's why, as a people, we're not advanced, because we don't understand money. So it's going to take some generations of us learning what to do, pass it down to our children. So now that 1 million that's locked into the market, we
Okay.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, let me stop you, because I think I don't want my feed to go crazy over here. So here's where I get it, and this is just a scenario, and totally appreciate it. But I just, again, don't want this feed to go crazy because I feel it. So we follow the work of Dr. William Sandy Darity, and so we're not going to go down the rabbit hole of the specifics of reparation. I don't do that. So when people ask me on the campaign trail how, I lean on economists who have done this work. And again, I follow the work of William Sandy Darity, because I am not an economist. I don't do that. So I want to create with my candidacy the infrastructure to for us to get the reparations, but the hashing out of it, I try to stay out of the weeds of that. So we're going to dial back, and we're going to come back to tell us again, because we only have about we're at the half hour. So tell us how you even came up with this. You were working at the school with some kids. You did tell me that story. Tell us that story of how you even started this the idea of Earn Our Trust. Let's go back.
Okay, so basically, like I said, I was a business owner. I still work in the community, but I don't work at the schools per se. It's a lot of politics and stuff like that. I think that they try to set us up for failure. But I've always wanted to create a platform where businesses like myself, because I was, giving people jobs and help. Like even I was the first example of the Earn Our Trust app. I worked at the school for free for 1 year because the school didn't have the budget. But kids was walking through gang infested areas, so I was like, they still got to go to school, they still got to get education. So I actually, I volunteered my time, and then I got some other volunteers to come out and help get kids walking to from school safely. And then we had gang members that was harassing our kids. So I'm about solutions. So I just told them, hey, check this out. If I help you guys get a job, would you take it? And they were like, yeah. So I helped those guys get a job. So while they was at work, they went out there harassing my kids. So I was the first example. So, and that was like around 2014. And so, I got out of that and started doing some other investments with the money I had. And I always wanted to do something, but when the whole thing like happened with the George Floyd, it was always an idea of mine to create a platform to where we can have businesses like mine that, like I said, I worked for a whole year for free because my heart was in the right place. So we need to just find other businesses that heart is in the right place and they're doing the right thing for the right reason. In other words, we put people first and profit second. And so when I was hearing about like Black Lives Matter, 100 million, and I'm not hating on them. I'm glad that they got the money. But only that I'm saying, if your thing is about stopping police brutality, then we need to see exactly what you're doing. You need to go sit down with some of these police chiefs that go do a research and find out where police brutality is rampant in the Black community. Go sit down with the police chiefs and the mayor, do some training with the community, do some training with the officers, because sometimes I don't believe in this arguing with the police, when they pulling you over. That's not the time to argue with the police. If you have a problem with the officer, you can later on file a complaint, and then you can also fight it in court. But we as a people, we need to train our community as just, comply, even though some people say, well, we have incidents where people have complied, like Castillo, and still got shot. And yes, unfortunately, stuff like that happened. But if you don't comply, if you then sit there arguing with them, you just make things worse. So not only and I've seen it in our community, like in Watts, like where I was working at, we had officers who had a good relationship with the community. And then if they pulled somebody over and that person was giving them a hard time, sometimes they would call me and I would go to the actual scene and, hey man, if this cop, I was like, well man, just calm down. I was doing some intervention work. Just let him do his thing. If you disagree, we can go sit down with the captain and you can file a complaint. So we was actually doing the work. And that's what I'm saying. Black Lives Matter, if they got $100 million to do what they're supposed to be doing, then they need to be sitting down with these police chiefs and these mayors and coming up with a holistic community approach. I'll give you one more example. Chief Bratton was the chief of police in LAPD at the time when we had a big community meeting in Watts. And the community was telling Chief Bratton, you need to get some of these crooked officers out of our community. They planting evidence on people. They're doing all kind of, scandalous stuff to Black folks. So Chief Bratton, on his way out, told his captain at Southeast Station in Watts, he told him to remove those guys because the community told Chief Bratton, if you get rid of your crooked officers, then we can trust you. We'll start pointing you out to people that's committing the crimes in our community. So when Chief Bratton got rid of those two cops, then the community started, because the community didn't trust the police. They're like, these police are crooked. So that's why people don't like communicating with the police, because they feel like they're crooked. So when Chief Bratton got rid of those cops, then the community started telling the police and working with them about the people, telling on the people that needed to be taken out of their community. Because in the Black community, we don't want criminals. We don't want people out there shooting and making it hard for our kids to go to school and 2-year-old babies getting killed. And we don't want that, but we don't trust the police either. So once you start bridging that gap where law enforcement starts showing that they're not part of the problem, but they're actually a part of the solution. Now I'm gonna tell you another thing that the police used to do. The gang unit, I used to give them my business cards, and I said, well, instead of jacking them up, give them my business card, tell them I hook them up to get them a job, even if they got a criminal record. So when the gang unit went out and was jacking up the gang members, they're like, "Hey, you want to get a job?" And I, yeah, whatever. They're not for real. And then they would give them my business card, and then they thought it was a joke. So they came up to the office and they seen that it was real, and they said, "Man, I ain't never seen nothing like this. We just think police is just trying to take us to jail." And so and then I helped them get jobs. And so when they start seeing the police as being a part of the solution, then everything works. But that's why we need to support businesses, because I was able to do stuff like that, but had I not had support from the community, I wasn't able to do stuff like that. But I was supported by the community. I was able to keep my contract and different stuff like that.
Yeah, trust is, the core. It's kind of like when people run for office and they want votes. When you go into certain communities, you got to go in and you got to find the leaders of the community, and they got to know you and they got to trust you. And you're right. So having a platform, earning our trust, like we're not going to just give this to you just because. You're going to earn it. That means you're going to do something to show and prove that you can be trusted. So exactly. I love the approach.
Thank you.
Kudos to you. Yeah. This is good. And like going back to what we were talking about, the title, let's talk Black-owned businesses. I really want us as a community to think about how we got to reimagine doing business. Again, it is about, of course, making the money. You got to make the money to stay in business and be in business. I get that. Like, number one, I get that. But we have to think beyond the money. And like with Earn Our Trust, again, having a bigger footprint, a larger footprint, and making a serious impact is how you need to think about how you do business. And again, beyond the free back to school drives, which we know, those things help. Community driven initiatives, they help. But how do we make a bigger impact?
Right. If we had people that was making six figures or at least a living wage, they're gonna see this. That's that whole, we want a hand up, not a handout, right? So if we're making money, if I'm making six figures, I don't need you to buy my kids backpacks because I got the money to buy it myself. I don't need you to buy my turkeys and all that because I can afford it. We need to get away from this victim mentality where it's always about handouts. We as a business community, we need to make sure our community, just like other communities, I don't mention names, but other communities, they're very well off. They make sure everybody's doing good. They make sure everybody's having six figures. That's what we need to be doing. So yes, it's okay for now because we do need it. And like I said, I'm not saying don't stop doing that, but what we need to do is think higher. We need to raise the bar on, let's get out of this poverty. We need to, in the Black community, our main goal as business owner is to, for me, one of the things, eradicate poverty, eradicate Black on Black crime, eradicate police brutality, and have access to capital for business startups like myself. And I think if we concentrate on just in a good education for our children, we need to have our own private boarding schools for our children. And businesses can set up endowments, where the kids can go to school for free and pay the teachers more than what they pay in the public school so we can attract the best talent. So that's the mission that I'm on.
So what I'm liking about this broadcast and us talking about Black-owned businesses, this is talking real solutions. Like this is about how we take Black-owned businesses now and put them on steroids. Like how do we take the model that we understand, the simple everyday model of doing business in this country? How do we take that model and make it make sense? Because here's where, I go back to my example earlier about coming out of slavery during that Reconstruction period where we created these Black Wall Streets. We were in a community together. We were clustered together. We were right there together. We lived together. We went to church together. We were right there in this area. That is not how Black businesses are going to thrive today. Right. And that's why platforms and this, like yours, and this digital way of thinking has to really, we have to really embrace it, because your Black-owned businesses, your Black-owned business might be in California. I'm here in Georgia. How do we connect in such a way, and we do business in such a way that we're growing and helping and supporting the Black community as a whole? And this is where this digital world brings that all together, and a platform like yours can really work.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
So I think we're nailing it. I think, I get excited because I love business. Like, trust me, if I wasn't running, I would have a brick and mortar. I would still be in the beauty industry. I would have my nail salon. I would still be doing what I do. And one thing about us, we talk about, you mentioned earlier, you kind of skated over it, but the service, when we provide these services, we got to be mindful that, we got to do better on the service end. One thing
go ahead. Go ahead.
And I'll let you jump in. One thing that I was known for is that I gave tremendous, my customer service was number one on partner. Number one, I believe in good service. So, it's simple things that we have to do to grow and make Black businesses stronger and better. But this, again, going back to this digital space and having this digital platform is where I think this is where we are today. And I'll let you jump back in.
There. So on my site, on my web, I have a room called the Resource Room, where you can go learn about how to get loans and different stuff like that. And customer service, we're known and notorious for having, not all, but we're known for having bad customer service. And not that other races don't have businesses that have bad. I done been other establishments that wasn't owned by Black people and they had bad customer service. But we can't worry about what other people are doing. We have to worry about what we're doing. So I think that we definitely need to, and that comes with mentorship. That's one of the things about my platform, the Resource Room. I would like to connect people with other businesses that can mentor you and show you how you can have, good customer service. Because, when I go somewhere and I don't like the service, the product got to really, really be good for me to go back. But if the product was just, the food was okay or something like that, but the customer service was lousy, I'm definitely not going back. So, I think that customer service is something that we need to work on. That's one of the hurdles, one of the reasons why Black people really don't like to support Black. This excuse that they give. Well, every time you deal with a Black person, they jack up the prices and they do this and they do that. We need to work on that. Charge a fair price. I'm not saying you got to give it away, but don't try to squeeze us for every little nickel. Your customer service got to be excellent. We got to the bar got to be really high. So that way it's no excuses. No, I called them. They got back with me within 24 hours. They was really on it. They gave me my money back, or they sent me a replacement, whatever it is. I call it the Disneyland effect. When you go to Disneyland, the smiles and yes, sir. And, they wait on you hand and foot. So we have to do it like that, And what my ultimate goal is for us, what we're trying to do is I want to build a community on the Earn Our Trust platform. So it'd be, remember like when Oprah Winfrey used to bring somebody on and whatever she put on there, they had like instant success. Today it's Shark Tank. That's what kind of consumers that I want on my platform. And it's just not Black consumers. We want anybody that want to support Black-owned businesses, I call them the friends of the Black community. But I want people to, whenever we get behind, we support it. And that's what I envision for Earn Our Trust, is to build an army of consumers that constantly vote with their pocketbook. And we're going to vet businesses that are actually doing something meaningful. It's company out of Chicago. They was feeding the homeless, but they seen that was a problem. So what they did, they just start hiring them and then giving them a chance and getting them off the street, and also helping them get a place to live. So those are the kind of businesses like one of the places I really want to target is Chicago. I want to go and I want to get with some businesses, and I want to see how can we get some of these young brothers that's out there shooting people. Because you got these little kids getting killed and different stuff like that. They need mentors and they need opportunity. Now the ones that don't want to do right, then that's when we have legislation that can deal with them. But the ones that want to do right, we need to have the systems in place. Like here in LA, when we had the 1992 riots, we had a peace treaty where gangs got together and said, okay, we're going to stop the killing. But the problem was there wasn't no black businesses that could step up and take them young brothers and sisters and start mentoring them and giving them good paying jobs and then showing them how to open up their own business and stuff like that. We didn't have that. So what happened was when the resources didn't come in, now they start drinking and smoking weed and partying, and then somebody get into a fight at a party, somebody gets shot. Now the truce is off. And that happened in 1992, after the Rodney King riot. So we had to have businesses that's willing to step it up and get with these young brothers and sisters and work with them, because I don't care how much success we have. If we don't solve that problem, we are never going to be the people that we're supposed to be. We're not going to have the greatness that we're supposed to, because you can make the money and move up to the hills. But it was a situation where one of the police chiefs of LA, his daughter was hanging around some gang members and she got shot and killed. And he's the police chief. And so if we don't solve this problem on black crime, which is one of my top priorities, we always going to have issues. We're not going to be great as we have the potential to be. We have to fix that. And there's no getting around it. It starts with a good school. We need our own private boarding schools, a hybrid model where certain kids can go to the school and go home. Those are the families that have a strong, when they say everything starts at home, educating your kids, some parents are on top of their game. So the school will be a hybrid boarding school. So certain kids can go there and go home because they got a strong foundation at the house. If they need any additional resources, we can provide them a case manager and mentors to help them, but keep the children in the home. But when I worked at Locke High School in Watts, parents used to come to me all the time. I don't know what to do with my kid. If I whoop them, I got 3 other children. Department of Children and Family Services would come in and take all my kids, so I can't do nothing with them. So that was another story. When I had an after-school program helping at-risk youth, I would go to Boys and Girls Club and say, instead of kicking the kids out, because you know what's going to happen if you kick them out for being bad, they're going to be in the streets and they're going to join gangs. I have an after-school program. That's all I deal with is kids that got behavioral issues. And so one day I was watching TV and the sheriff department came on and said they had a boot camp for at-risk youth. I said, well, I got a whole bunch of kids that can benefit from this. So when I took the kids down there, the grandmother of one of the kids couldn't participate because she was real old. So I asked the sheriffs, could I sit in? They said, yeah, because I'm in their life, majority of the time every day. So the first time in my life, because I'm not going to lie, I didn't like the police, because not that I'm a criminal, but if you're walking down the street and you're getting jacked up by the cops asking you what gang you from, are you on parole or probation, that get tiring. And I'm not even that kind of person. So I didn't like the police. Not that I was a criminal, but when I started working with the sheriff department with the VITA program, which is the boot camp, I started seeing police who was actually trying to keep black and brown kids out of the criminal justice system. They would go talk to their probation officer. They would talk to the school. And the kids start turning around, because now the kids start having a positive relationship with law enforcement, because those at-risk kids, they didn't like the police either, because most of their family are gang related. So when they start seeing that cops were cool and that those cops were trying to keep them out of trouble and writing letters to the judge when they was on probation saying this kid is doing good in the program, can he get off early off of probation? We'll pick up the slack. We'll monitor him from there. And kids start graduating and going to college and stuff like that. I've seen that with my own eyes. So if we just understand that we need to invest in more programs like that And that's eventually why I started my security company. And I told you on the phone that they cut the program. Now, why would they cut a program that's helping black and brown kids stay out of the criminal justice system? So when budgets get cut, they cut the program. So the deputy's like, man, you good at this government. You should like do your own thing. But how do you make money running the boot camp? Like you guys get paid from the county. So when my little cousin that I took custody of, he was in foster care, so I took custody of him. He went to lock. And I went to the school one day, and a fight broke out, and security didn't come. So I'm looking at a fight and looking at the other parents, and like, where's security? So me and some of the parents went and broke up the fight, and then it dawned on me, this school needs security. And I had experience with the boot camp, because not only did I go through it with the kids, and they graduated, the sheriff asked us to come back and mentor the new parents and the new kids that was coming in. So me and our kids would go and mentor. The kids would mentor the kids, and I would mentor the parents. So I had experience of working with the boot camp. So I created a program, and I went and got my security license. I went and got a brochure, gave it to the principal. He said he loved it, but he was his first day on the job. He didn't know what his budget was. He said, I just came to work and start welcoming the kids to school. When the bell rang, let's go to my office. Went to his office. He was like, his secretary was like, well, the budget's already been done, but let me try to look for some funding. And that's when I told him, if you can't find no money, don't worry about it. I'm going to help you. And so when I was working at the school, and then we can end on this note, he had a tardy room that had 400 to 500 kids that wasn't making it in the class. So what I did is I met with I met the people in the tardy room, the dean's office, the school police, and I put together a program where I went to go talk to the head judge for the juvenile justice. So like when kids are tardy at school, they get suspended, and then if they keep being tardy, they get a traffic ticket. And so I went to the judge and I said, well, I'm putting together a boot camp at Locke. If the kids graduate and they bring the certificate, would you honor this and waive the ticket? The judge was like, yeah, I'll do that. And so when we went and gave kids, so what happened was one day we warned the kids that we were starting a boot camp, and if they was going to get a ticket, get suspended. So some of the kids stopped coming. We sent letters home explaining to the parents what we was going to do. But some of these parents, they don't read the mail when they come from the school. When the school calls them about their kid, they cuss them out, hang up the phone. Some of the numbers don't work. So when all these kids came back with their parents, about 400 or 500 kids, it was like the movie Lean on Me. Parents were sitting there cussing me and the principal out. I don't have $300 to pay for no ticket, whatnot, whatever. So when the principal explained to them that the only thing the kids had to do is go through the boot camp, they didn't have to pay for the ticket. And another thing I missed, the principal, when the parents came to sign their kids in, he gave every parent a progress report. So after I helped the crowd calm down and the principal got on the microphone, he said, just take a moment and look at your kid's progress report. Because at first they was cussing me and the principal out. Because, the kids always go back and tell their side of the story, but they don't tell, how it really is. They just be like, oh, they just picking on us, giving us tickets and all this. So when the parents start seeing that their kids was having fails and not going to class, the parents start cussing us out. They start cussing the kids out. And the parents said, I would guarantee have that child at that boot camp. And so we did an 8-week boot camp, and we did it for the whole year. Every 8 weeks, we'll repeat it. At the end of the school year, we had no kids in the tardy room. We partnered with community-based organizations that did tutoring, counseling, family counseling, mentors. So not only we did the boot camp part, but we also had a community part in there too with the social services. So the whole tardy room went away. The grades actually went up. The graduation rate actually went up. And then I got awarded other contracts with the LA Unified School District because of that work.
And this is the core story to how you have been able to earn our trust.
That's the core value.
It was earned.
Yeah.
It was earned. Yeah. It was earned trust. They trusted you. Yeah. And that is the model to the core, the story to how you got to where you are with this initiative around Black-owned businesses and having them to be socially engaged and socially responsible.
Right. Yep. And also help parents get jobs too. They was happy about that. Like parents would come up to the dean's office mad, calling about their kids. And when you got to go deeper, get to the root. Well, what's some of the problems? Well, I don't have a job and it's hard for me to get a job. So I'll help a lot of parents. So I would say this: it was a company that would hire you. Even it was UPS. It would hire you if you had a criminal record, and if you didn't have if you didn't have a high school diploma. They had a GED program that they wanted you to go through, but they said they wouldn't fire you if you didn't complete it. But they said if you wanted to promote, then you would need to get your GED. So I helped a gang of parents get a jobs, and they loved me. So yeah, I did earn their
Yeah.
trust, and they trusted me.
You earn their trust. So there's the root of earn our trust,
That's
earnourtrust.com. Go to the website, everybody. This is Mr. Eddie Goodman. Mr. Goodman, I want to thank you for being my guest
Thank you for
today
having me.
on the
Thank you.
broadcast. It's been phenomenal. I believe in Black businesses. I know that in this digital world, in this digital space, we got to reimagine what this looks like, because we're not next door to each other. You're in LA, I'm in Georgia. And how do we merge the worlds of Black businesses and come together so that we can do the greater good and have a bigger impact and have a larger footprint around what is best for our communities in
Right.
Black America. So thank
That's
you.
right.
Thank you
Thank
again
you.
for your time this morning. Thank you for being
Thank
my
you.
guest.
Thank you. My pleasure. And
All
we'll
right.
be in
We'll
touch.
definitely have you back, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That was Mr. Eddie Goodman, y'all. Great broadcast. Earnourtrust.com. Go to the website, y'all. Black America, again, we are not all in the same place. We're scattered all over this country. This digital world is our friend. It is going to save us. It is going to connect us in such a way that, we are all going to thrive. We're all going to thrive. So let's wrap this up. I am still locked out of Facebook, y'all, on my profile, but I can access the Tamara for Georgia page. So follow me there. But every week we give voice to issues, activists, and activism. Please, y'all, support this broadcast. This is independent media. Independent media. We have to tell our own stories and do our own work. This is our work. This is our work right here. We got to do our own work, support our own broadcast, and do our own work. So I thank you for joining me. Of course, I am running for the United States Senate. We are 6 months away. 6 months, y'all. I keep thinking 6 months ago it was May. And then 6 months from now, it is going to be May again. And we have a race to win to the United States Senate. I'm taking a bold agenda to Washington. I'm ready, y'all. Armed and dangerous. I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready to negotiate reparations. I'm ready to make sure it happens for those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery. Let's take this to Washington. Go to the website, tamara4georgia.com. We have a deadline on Monday. Please make a contribution and do as much as you can, y'all. We have milestones that we've been trying to reach every 15 days. The 15th of the month, by the 1st of the month, we're trying to make sure that we are where we need to be, y'all, and we need all the help we can get. So I ask, please go to the website, tamaraforgeorgia.com, and donate. I also work alongside churches in this reparations movement. If you know a church, if you're looking for a good church home, you're looking for a pastor that is bold in his stance and is fighting for reparations, go to the website, reparationssunday.com. If you are right here in Georgia, HB 541, the Georgia legislature is right around the corner. January, Georgia will be back in session. We just finished up redistricting right here in the state of Georgia. It's going to be real interesting. But we have HB 541 in the Georgia legislature. It will support the study to study the impact of slavery on those of us who are descendants of slavery right here in Georgia. And next week, y'all, Keeping Up with Congress, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, on Clubhouse, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on the Wisdom app. Next week will be my last week, but I'm going to come back in the new year with something better and greater. But Keeping Up with Congress, y'all, next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can also find me on the Clubhouse app on Tuesdays. White Women for Reparations. White Women for Reparations, y'all. White Women for Reparations. We are listening to They Were Her Property. We are listening and learning, and it is a lot to digest, but they're listening and they're learning and they're committed. So White Women for Reparations, if you know any white women that get this and will support us in this fight for reparations, send them to the Clubhouse app on Tuesdays. This is Listen and Learn on Tuesdays. And then back on Thursdays on the ClubHouse app, hard conversations, white women, black women, let's talk. We got to get it right. So we got to talk it out and talk it through, y'all. So Thursdays on the ClubHouse app. And on Fridays, y'all, I've been busy, y'all. I'm not sitting around twiddling my thumbs. Trust me, we making it happen. Friday on the ClubHouse app. What's up, Georgia? Let's network. Let's talk. Y'all, I have a fundraiser coming up, Cooking with the Candidate. Y'all, I told you I'm not the best cook. I'm not. Some things I'm really good at. Politically, I'm good. I'm real good. Cooking, I am not. Cooking with the Candidate, y'all. It's a fundraiser, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on November 17th. Go to the website, click on the page, fundraisers, Tamara for Georgia. Click on that fundraisers page and join me on the 17th for Cooking with the Candidate. Another fundraiser, y'all. We are getting up to Black Friday. You're going to spend some money somewhere. Why not spend it? Polish and Politics, some of the cutest little giveaways and great stuff over there. Polish and Politics. Everything you buy from that Polish and Politics page goes directly to the campaign. So please support. Please support. We got some campaign swag over there. Lots going on. Campaign swag on that fundraiser page. So please support. Please support. So I am Tamara Johnson Shealey, y'all. I will see you back here Monday. Keeping up with Congress. Keeping up with Congress. Thank you, everybody. I love you. I'll see you back soon.
When we come to Washington in this campaign, we're coming to get our check. Young prodigies. Grow.
Reparations, Martin said we coming for our check. Reparations, say it loud, 1, 2, mic check. Cream, cash rules everything around me. Dream, my legacy, you can't stop me. Coming for our 40 acres, HR 40 and our paper.
Kicking the door, coming for our 40 acres and more. Our 6.4 trillion. Miss that no, we fought the Civil War.
We came from the poor.
Start from the bottom, we still on the floor. We pray to the Lord.
Amen. Picking the cotton, our fingers are sore.
Straight out the underground, escaping from slavery. The only cemeteries that we had were the trees. Watching our bodies while they blew in the breeze. Thinking to the north side to get free.
That way came from slavery. Where's on the man wants to sit on me? Put her head on the door, but the werewolf schemes. Stick to the north side to get free.
Reparations, Martin said we coming for our check. Reparations, say it loud, 1, 2, mic check. Cream, cash rules everything around me. Dream, my legacy, you can't stop me. Coming for our 40 acres, HR 40 and our
Look,
paper.
we taking them back. Putting Pettis Bridge on the map. Police came with the strap. That son niggas bunny, no cap.
Stop capping.
Speaking of cap, Kaepernick taking knees at the flag. Where my justice at? We built this nation, better give me them rat. All fat, just imagine a little bit of gasoline. 4 girls got bombed back in 63.
400 years, yeah, we still ain't free. I rise, we rise, take a knee.
Kaepernick.
Reparations, Martin said we coming for our check. Reparations, say it loud, 1, 2, mic check. Cream, cash rules everything around me. Dream, my legacy, you can't stop me.
Coming for our 40 acres, HR 40 and our paper.
We stuck in the trap, with no shoes trying to pull up bootstraps. Increasing the gap, wealth got bigger so we had to adapt. Discriminated cause we black, I know it worth more than I know it's a fact. They tryna feed scraps, strike me on board so we can't come back.
30 years ago on April 19, Yusef and Try Remy Chemical Reed.
If it happened to them, think it happened to me. Screaming out